This is Shaylin Merton for my video adaptation review for modern drama. I am doing my review on the 2017 stage production of Long Day's Journey into Night with Alfred Molina. Now, the 2017 stage production of Long Day's Journey into Night was a really interesting watch. While it is very good as an adaptation, I did notice in the first act especially, it took a little bit of liberties. For instance, at the very, very start of the play, it opens with, instead of Mary and Tyrone chatting as they normally do, it shows instead a man sitting in the dark and hearing voices echoing around him, while what appears to be a maid kind of moves around on the stage and straighten things up. The man eventually walks up the stairs, and then we transition into what we are used to with the script. Now, Alfred Molina plays James Tyrone, while Jane Kaczmarek plays Mary. They both do an excellent job of showing the characters. The play itself really didn't shy away from using much of the original script. So, they chose to keep in the lines about Tyrone calling Mary fat. Now, of course, since it's used as a compliment, it does make sense, but it is still a bit shocking considering it was a 2017 production. So it was a bit shocking for them to not see them kind of use a different word instead, especially considering they also left in Mary worrying over herself gaining weight. Said interestingly, during Edmund's story about Harker, the production has Mary chime in randomly with these little bits and giving off what sounds like forced laughter, just little things that the script didn't really have. And it definitely seems to be a way to show how Mary is kind of forcing herself to engage with everything. They already had Mary doing other things that weren't in the script, such as she's rubbing her hands together nervously, she's messing with things on the table, and just fiddling with things kind of added on to her thing with her hair. Now, it just goes a long way to show that she is somebody in rehab. She is somebody who is dealing with, addiction or anxiety. It's like little bits of foreshadowing that they place in. Now, when she has her first line about Edmund's drinking, she doesn't even get to finish the line in its entirety. And she's actually instead cut off while Edmund kind of blatantly ignores her in favor of telling his story. So continuing on, after Edmund gets to the end of his story, the stage production actually has all the actors say their lines at once a few times. So it kind of shows how this is a family dynamic. The family, they're trying to interrupt and talk over each other. It creates this kind of mess of a conversation where it's hard to hear what everyone is saying, but it definitely and certainly feels extremely believable for an actual conversation and what that would actually sound like. Something that the script was kind of lacking in the orderly way. Everyone had, their turn to speak and everything. But that does make sense considering, in the written form, it is harder to kind of show that layers of speech. So another decision that the stage production makes is to have longer than expected periods of silence after quite a few of Mary's lines in Act 1. So when she's discussing what her plans are for the day and how she needs to talk to the cook about dinner, there's quite a few moments where she pauses talking, as if giving Jamie and Tyrone a chance to speak, but they don't speak. So she just continues to awkwardly continue talking. And after a few times of this, she seems to eventually just give up and continue about her day, which is a completely different vibe from the script, where it felt more like she was feeling chipper for this morning scene. However, in this stage production, they take the opportunity to really show what Mary means when she later talks about feeling off in her own home. How she feels as though they're spying on her when they're around, instead of simply spending time with her. She feels kind of less paranoid in a way and more believable in this stage production, just with those few moments of silence. Jones that the script doesn't have. because in the script it's, the one block of text and she just goes in silent in the play. So that was very, very neat to see. Now, the largest change in Act 1, say for the opening scene, is definitely the argument between Jamie and Tyrone, whereas everything is very neat in the script. As I said before, everyone has their turn to speak. In the stage production, they're talking over each other. They're raising their voices. They're interrupting. They're doing all these things that just feel real for a normal argument. And again, it goes back to how it's very hard to kind of relay in a, written format. Now, Jamie starts the argument fully dressed. He's got his cravat, his collar, his jacket, everything is on. And as they get into this argument, the more and more that he and Tyrone just go at each other, he takes off more of his costume. So he takes off his cravat, then he takes off his jacket, then he takes off his collar. He even at one point, unbuttons his cuffs and rolls up his sleeves. He's just seemingly getting more comfortable and more relaxed the longer the fight goes on. It gives this impression that this is his normal. And it was something that wasn't really shown exactly as well in the script. They talk about it all the time in the script, and they state that this is the normal, that Jamie and Tyrone fight a lot. But here, with just this, him just getting comfortable, taking off his clothes, it really helps show it. All in all, this was a phenomenal adaptation. I highly recommend anybody watch this who's interested in this play. They did a great job really encapsulating the characters and helping bring the story to life and doing a phenomenal job in showing. And just with those little acts of showing, they really helped kind of transform different aspects of the play to spin a new light on it.